Welcome to another segment of the BYU Management Society's Learn from Professional Initiative. Our goal is to provide guidance to young adults that are either exploring various careers or ready to jumpstart their career. So today we have the opportunity to learn from McKay Karlson, who is a seasoned UPS driver. McKay has been a driver for over 6 years. He graduated from BYU with a facility and property management degree. So first of all, thanks, McKay, for joining us and your willingness to share your advice to those on this call. First of all, I know you've had various experiences, right? You just didn't go straight to being a UPS driver. So what made you decide to be a UPS driver?
Well, like you said, UPS was not plan A. Uh, at the time, I just graduated from BYU with my degree, and I wasn't having a lot of success getting a job interviewing at the time. And um, every day for mental and physical health, I'd go on walks and listen to podcasts and try and um, take that time for myself. And my wife Chloe was like, "Why don't you just go apply for UPS right now, so then you can get paid to go do those things?" And I did apply as a seasonal driver, and it ended up being a really great fit for me personally, and so I've stuck with it.
So what were, you talked about the walks a little bit. What other
Yeah.
things made it a good fit for you?
I really enjoy I enjoy being outside, being active, being physical. It's an opportunity for me to interact with a lot of people, but also be by myself. Like I have both of those dynamics. And so I like to work by myself, and yet I still get opportunities for quick interactions with a lot of people every day. The main thing that I enjoy about being a UPS driver, though, is being outside and being active.
Okay. So what's the best career advice as a UPS driver that you've ever received?
Um, the best career advice uh, is to just take your day one stop at a time. I remember a lot of drivers would tell, especially at first when you're overwhelmed with how many stops you have to do and the workload, and you see your truck and it's just jam packed with boxes and it's overwhelming, and you don't know maybe the area very well, and it's very easy to get overwhelmed. And so a lot of drivers said just take it one stop at a time. And there's a lot of personal applications there to life, I think, that I've learned from it. But just being able to not get overwhelmed with the scope of the day, and then just focus on one stop at a time, is probably the best advice I've received as a driver.
Okay. And so you talk about the one step at a time and you talk about all the stops, so how many stops do you have and what does a typical day look like as a UPS driver?
Yeah, great question. So, um, I would say it depends on your route, but I average about 175 stops a day. And I have so routes can vary whether you're like in town business route or you're more we call it extended stops. These are like country addresses and homes that are spread out a little bit more. But just to give you some perspective, let's say I have 180 stops for the day. If I were to waste 1 minute at every stop, that's going to cost you 3 hours. And so it's really fast pace. It's go, go, go the whole time. But I do about 170, 180 stops every day.
Mhm. So how do you balance that? I mean, I know you talked a little bit before about you enjoy, being by yourself, et cetera, for a while, but then also interacting with those people. How do you interact with those people when you've got, 30 seconds or whatever to have that interaction?
Yeah, I've gotten really good at the like I see a customer at the door maybe, and so I will start the conversation as I'm walking to them, hand them their box, and then I finish the conversation as I walk away. So like I'm really good at the approaching and departing conversation so that I'm constantly moving.
So how many of those, I mean, I know you have a similar route a lot of the time, right? So how many of those people know your name, who you are, etc.
Now on my route, there's a good um, the majority of my customers recognize me or know me. Like every now and then you'll introduce yourself. Um, the first 3 years though, I was what was called a swing driver, and so I didn't have a bid route. I just did whatever route they needed covered for that day. And so they'll recognize your face, but they don't always remember who you are. And so you just get good at kind of like remembering certain details of things they've shared in the past and elaborating on that. But it's like I said, it's like the UPS wants you to be moving the whole time, and so you're having really quick conversations.
Okay. And so it sounds like you started off as a part-time driver and then a swing driver, etc. Has your career been like one straight upward mobility, or has it been like up and down and you've had trials and obstacles that you faced?
So um, every day brings trials and obstacles. It feels like, as far as like a career progression, um, the way a, the way you progress within a driving career is most people get hired on as part-time, and so you're loading the trucks in the morning or you're unloading the trucks at night. And then UPS has I think like a 9 to 10 in-house hiring ratio, and so only like 1 out of 10 drivers get hired off the street. Most of them get hired from being a part-time worker. And then once you're hired, it's just a matter of seniority and time. And so you get hired at first year rate, you get a raise the next year, the third year, the fourth year. And then after 4 years, you hit what's called top rate. And so you're making the top rate pay scale. And so like if you've been with the company 5 years, you're making the same hourly rate that a person who's been there 25 years is making. They've acquired more vacation and some seniority benefits, and that and since it's union, like the seniority um, helps them in other ways. But like it's a quick rise to the top, and then you basically stay at top rate, and you get opportunities to like bid a route or um, acquire more vacation. There's some other perks, but it's a quick climb to the top, and then you kind of stay there at top rate for the rest of your career.
Yeah. So some of those routes you're going to be wanting to bid more, right? And so the newbie on the block
Yeah,
is going to get the uh, not necessarily junk routes, but the less wanted routes. We'll call it that, right?
not all routes are created equal. That is for sure. And there's certain routes that people call retirement routes, where it's like people wait their career to get that route and then they stay on it the rest of their career.
Mhm. Okay. So is there any education or skills or other things that you can acquire to become a UPS driver?
I believe they really only require a high school degree. You need a valid driver's license, and then you have to get a DOT card. So that's a Department of Transportation card. It's like a physical every couple years. That just makes sure you're healthy and fit to be on the road as a professional. And really, other than that, there's no certification or educational requirements. If you want to drive the semi trucks, like you would need a CDL, but all of our trucks are at the either maximum length or less than what is required for a CDL. So honestly, just a high school degree and then that DOT card every couple of years. Um, that doesn't mean like there are definitely people that come in and it it's a rigorous job, so like not everybody um make or it's not for everybody, I guess. And so education wise, there's not a lot of requirements, but the pace of the day and the grind of the job isn't necessarily easy either.
Mhm. So you'd say that's more of the challenge of this job, right? Is the grind and the hours, et cetera, probably the physical. Would you say
Totally.
yeah, what would you say the rewards of the job are?
What I love about the job, and I think there's a lot of visual cues throughout the day that kind of show you're making progress and you're doing you're you're completing your job. So in the morning, you show up to work and your truck is just packed with boxes, and you see like the bulk of your day's route. And what's nice is throughout the day, you get to see that visual of the truck emptying. And so there's a lot of visual cues that give you like little fulfillment of you're getting the job done. When I have a bulked out truck in the morning and then I do my last stop and I look in the back of the truck and it's completely empty, it's like a real satisfying feeling of knowing like you did that. And like I'm assuming a lot of other jobs you take home with you. You're never able to fully clock out. You bring the job home with you. But I do like that when I clock in, I'm at work. When I clock out, I am done.
Yeah.
And I don't have to bring that home with me
Mhm.
at night or over the weekend or on a week of vacation.
Yeah. When you parked your empty truck at the end and you've clocked out and you're driving your own car home, you're done, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so that's really nice to be able to separate work and home on the clock, off the clock.
Mhm. So what would you is there any things that are impacting your job right now? Any pressures from other companies or
Um, right now, I mean, like, okay, so the barrier to entry as a UPS driver isn't terrible, but the grind, like we talked about, is definitely the challenge. I mean, every day it's physical. Every day there's like I have a lot of country stops, so there's a lot of dogs on my route, and like even something simple like that, like it's not something you overcome and then it's no longer a challenge. It's a that challenge presents itself every day. And I brought up dogs because it's just one example of um, a challenge. I've always loved dogs and dogs have always loved me, but when I'm in the brown uniform, that is not always the case. And so I've been chased, I've been bit, I've been at it with dogs multiple times. And there's also, let me clarify, I have a lot of dogs on my route that love me and I love them. But you're just always on guard. Like you do a stop, there's a intense situation with the dog, you get in the truck and then you go on the street and then traffic is crazy. Like your your baseline grind is just always elevated, all nonstop. And so it's once you what it doesn't take long to kind of acclimate to that grind, but that grind never goes away, if
Mhm.
that makes sense.
So when you're talking about that, right, and there's that grind and there's that on the body, the wear and tear, right? What's the
Yeah.
average kind of life expectancy, for lack of a better term, of a UPS driver? Do they go out and do it for 20 years, 30 years, or is it something that's like, if you make it 10 years, it's a big accomplishment?
That's a great question. Most people who do this job do it for a life career. They're trying to reach, let's just say, 30 years. I told this is a personal um, goal that I set on myself. I told my wife, I'm not doing it a day over 10 years. We'll see that deadline is coming up sooner than I thought, but like that's just a personal goal I set on myself. Because I have other dreams and goals that I want to do in life. But it's a career for most people, like lifelong career, 25, 30 years. We just had a driver who completed 40 years. That's pretty rare. The truth is, and I'm just being candid here, um, not everyone makes those goals because of the wear and tear on the body. Like, if your body can do it, that's awesome. That's what most people shoot for. But I'll be honest, there's a high ratio of drivers who have shoulder issues or knee issues or back issues or like the body doesn't always allow people to make it that long.
Yeah. Is there things you've done to try to overcome and kind of mitigate some of those issues?
Oh, totally. I have learned to stretch religiously. Like every single day, it's a non-negotiable. Like I've come to appreciate the health benefit of stretching. Um, I try to get up, get my body moving, warm up. It's like warming up the car for a little bit before it goes out on a drive. But just being and you may know this, but that's kind of a personal passion of mine is just the health and wellness aspect. As far as the UPS driver goes, like stretching is almost a religion because you have to do it if you want to have longevity in the career. Um, but I've gone online and I've learned some like physical therapy exercises that I do every day to help just keep the body aligned, and then stretching to keep the muscles open and warm, and really being proactive at taking care. Like, you live life on your feet, and so if you can take care of this vehicle, then it can give you a longer career.
Okay. So if a young adult was interested in becoming a UPS driver, what would you recommend they do?
So I've thought a lot about this. I started driving at 29. You have to be 21. I really I really wish I had gone straight to driving, and then um you can make good money pretty quickly. It takes care of you. I really wish I had reversed the order. I got a degree and then went to driving. Man, if I could have driven for 10 years, saved up money, gained some perspective on what I really wanted to do, and then gone to school, I think that would have had so many, that would have really benefited my mindset as a student. Like, I wish I could have driven for 10 years and then become a student, because I've learned UPS has forced me to learn hard work, humility, contemplate what I wish I was doing outside of UPS. If I would have had that mindset as a student, um, man, that would have been so beneficial. And you can obviously get that mindset without going to UPS, but just like the appreciation for what an education can provide you if you're serious. UPS has really forced me to look at life more seriously.
Mhm.
And so I guess hard work and humility is what UPS has taught me. If you can somehow acquire that mindset as you go to become a student, that would be my advice.
And it seems like, if you're driving and delivering packages for 12 hours a day or whatever it is, you really have some time to contemplate, right? And think about,
Yeah,
listen to podcasts you talked about you're interested in, etc. Right? Which kind of helps with that, right? It's kind of a forced meditation in effect, or think about life for a long time, right? Each day.
every day. Yeah. That's another perk of the job is um, being able to listen to audiobooks, podcasts, constantly be in that meditative mindset. Another thing is you're interacting with people who are doing all sorts of business, different companies and businesses. So like, you're out there seeing what options there are for careers. And so I live here in Longmont, which is in Boulder County, and for almost 2 years I did Main Street, which is a wild route because you're playing leapfrog with semi trucks in the alley of Main Street for half the day. But man, the different businesses that I serviced, and the different just seeing the community and all the different career paths there are, like, that opens up your mind as well to seeing like what possible jobs there are out there.
So any of those stick, you can remember it and says, oh, here's three or four things that might be interesting to do after I retire or move on from UPS.
Um, some stuff are just dreams. So like, um, I wonder what it would have been like to maybe be an accountant or a lawyer or a doctor. Like, every day you might be in a hospital, and then a law firm, and then um, an accounting firm. For me personally, I still um, that's a good question. I don't know if I have an answer to that yet. My problem is I want to do everything, and you can't do that in life. Um, but I do know that I would like to have a business of my own someday. And so I guess I see I more you have educational layer and then you have like the grind layer. And the UPS has opened my eyes to the grind layer. And so like people that run their own businesses, I see them there every single day managing people, what time they show up, what hours of their business hours of operation. And so I guess I'm at least seeing what it takes to succeed as a business owner on that grind level. I have some work to do on the educational level, but the grind level I've certainly been exposed to.
So it says, it sounds like you listen to a lot of books on tape, or I guess not really tape, right? Audio books, etc., podcasts. Any of those you'd like to mention? What's ones that have impacted you recently?
I have always I've always enjoyed like self-help genre. Um, man, the classics like um Atomic Habits by James Clear. I really enjoyed that one. I try to rotate genres, so I listen to man. Lately I've been lazy. I've been more into the fictional genre. I know Mike that that's your personal favorite genre, but I
Mhm.
read a series called Red Rising, which is awesome. I really enjoyed that. That's just more entertainment, but um I chose this year to try and expand my podcast consuming. So I'm like listening to the beginner photography podcast because I'm trying to, in today's day and age, everyone has a camera in their pocket. And so I'm trying to learn some basic skills in photography. That's been a really good one. Um, I should have had better prepared that question. I knew you were going to ask me that one. Um,
Okay. So
I
no, that's
I'll
fine.
have to get back to you on that one.
Okay. What other if you're talking to a young adult, right, like
Yeah,
you are right now, what career advice would you give them?
I would I would say that life, you don't have to know exactly what you want to do in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, but um, success is like a snowball effect, it seems like. And so if you have the mindset of hard work and succeeding in whatever realm you're in, that will open up doors of opportunity in the future. And so you don't need to know what those doors are now, but knowing that if you work hard and you succeed in your world wherever that is now, that life will present doors of opportunity down the road. And so to have that mindset of hard work and success mindset no matter what you're doing, and life will provide opportunities down the road.
Yeah, if you're prepared to succeed, right? Type of.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
okay. Good. Any other advice as we conclude here that you would like to offer up?
Um, I definitely wish that I could soak in the opportunity of being a college student. I don't know if that's the majority of the audience that listens to these, but man, just that window of time in life to focus solely on education is so precious. It's hard to always appreciate where you're at in the moment, but I just would double down on appreciating that window of being a full-time student and develop develop the spirit of lifelong learning, I guess. That would be the only advice I can give now is just develop that spirit of lifelong learning.
Okay. Well, good. Well, thank you, McKay. We appreciate the time that you've been able to share your thoughts on being a UPS driver. I know it's not your typical career path, but I think it's definitely a fit, right, for a lot of people. I know,
Yeah.
some if you like to be outdoors, walking around, interacting with people, Having that chance to think as well. I think those are all great things. I drove for a little while as well, and it's a great opportunity, right? So to wrap up this video, we'd like to remind our viewers that they can reach out to their own seasoned professionals to schedule an informational interview. You could reach out to McKay, and he would probably be willing to schedule an interview. To prepare for those informational interviews, we recommend that you watch the video on the website titled Conducting Informational Interviews. So that's on the BYU Management website, so you can go there as well. Thanks again, McKay, and we'll talk to you later.
Hey, thank you, Mike.